incomplete here today, but with you here, everything's so much better. Hello, I'm Paolo del Rosario. Let's get you up to speed with some news that you could use right now.
And I'm Monique Tuzon. Your mornings are always more fun with us, even when Anne is not here. So join us in the next hour and a half for stories and conversations that matter. So happy Araw ng Kagitingan.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. That was actually great
I've
Tagalog.
been practicing. And I know what it means. Day of Valor.
Day of Valor,
yes,
that's true.
It's when the Americans and the Filipinos did the Bataan Death March.
Yeah, actually, that's actually
I'm
good history from you. Good job.
Thank
I'm proud
you.
of you. Of course, for those wondering, yes, wala po si Anne today. It is unbelievable. Of course, she'll hopefully be back tomorrow.
Hopefully.
Just under the weather today. But for the meantime, it is going to still be a packed show.
Yes, we have such a full show. We're going to talk about something that everybody is into, which I'm trying to get into, running.
Are you really, are you a runner?
I'm not a runner, so hopefully our interview later will change me to become a runner. We'll see.
No,
are you a runner ba?
Yeah, I do run. I do run at least, not a lot. Like, I try to get like at least 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers a week.
At least.
Yeah, I try to, because, you know, like consistency is not quite there. But
I will just speed walk.
no, but again, in fairness kay mo, boxer po siya.
Yeah.
So, namubog siya ng tao.
I'm
that's her
practicing
preference.
because nagbubully siya. So if ever it's an extra bully, uppercut ko si Paolo.
No, kaya tumatakbo ako, di ba? Para, just to be able to get away. But again, without Anne here, I'll be really interested to see how we do this next segment. Kasi normally, si Anne po yung nagta-traffic. And then Mo will now have to pretend, alam niya kung anong...
Anong pretend? Let's see how I do the traffic. So you know what? Let's go ahead and check the traffics now, guys, in the major roads in Metro Manila at this hour. So let's take a look now at EDSA White Plains. On the left side, wow, it is free flowing, and on the right side as well. So on the southbound lane going to Shaw Boulevard, it is so free, like I said. And on the right side, the northbound lane headed to Cubao, it's a beautiful day with no traffic indeed. Now let's take a look at the situation along EDSA Orense in Makati. On the left side are vehicles going to Pasay. If you're going to the airport, it is the perfect time to go. And on the right side is the northbound lane bound for Shaw Boulevard. Again, it's a beautiful, beautiful day to drive. I told you guys I love coming into work when it is a holiday because there is no traffic. And a reminder to motorists, the expanded vehicle number coding scheme is suspended today since April 9 is the Araw ng Kagitingan or Day of Valor, which is a regular holiday. Now let's find out what the weather is going to be like on this Wednesday. Paolo has today's forecast from Weather HQ. Take it away, Pao.
Thank you so much, Mo. Again, super proud of your Tagalog a while ago. Kahit araw ng kagitingan lang yung sinasabi mo. Ako yung nabulol. But anyway, warm and humid conditions are expected to persist as the easterly winds continue to affect across the country. Now, these winds will come from the east, as the name suggests. Now, it will bring moist air that will really result in rising temperatures and increased humidity across the entire archipelago. Now, let's check out how this weather system will impact both the coastal and inland areas based on the weather forecast coming from the Metra Weather System. Let's start off first with Luzon. Now, over in Lawag, Ilocos Norte, and Casiguran in Aurora, you can expect cloudy skies with occasional sunshine along with the intermittent rain showers, especially in the afternoon. Now, the temperature over in Aurora, which is about here, will reach around 31 degrees Celsius, while Lawag will reach 32 degrees Celsius as a high. Now, in Metro Manila, you can expect a hot day with partly cloudy skies with temperatures ranging from 34 to 28 degrees Celsius. Now, of course, that will be throughout the day. Again, Casiguran's right over here, by the way, for those wondering where that was. I was standing right in front of that. But let's go on south to the Visayas region, where Iloilo City and Tacloban Leyte will have partly cloudy skies with temperatures ranging from around 24 to 32 degrees Celsius. Now, let's take a look at Metro Cebu. In Metro Cebu, you can expect intermittent rains that are going to be likely all throughout the afternoon. Temperatures will range from around 27 to 32 degrees Celsius over in Metro Cebu. So here's Iloilo and Tacloban, highs around 32 degrees in Iloilo and in Cebu. Now going down south to Mindanao, you can expect partly cloudy skies over in Zamboanga, General Santos, and Metro Davao. air temperature in General Santos City is around 33 degrees Celsius, while Zamboanga will have a high of around 34 degrees Celsius. Typically, Zamboanga, one of the hottest areas in Mindanao, but right now, Davao giving a run for its money, 35 degrees Celsius as one of the highs here over in Metro Davao. Now, this is the air temperature, but we're going to take a look at the heat indices now. Always remember that air temperature and heat index are not the same. Air temperature refers to the actual measured temperature of the air, while the heat index takes into account both the temperature and the humidity. Now, this will give a more accurate feel of how hot it actually feels outside. So what you feel on your skin, this is what you could expect. So now let's take a look at the heat index forecast coming from Pag-asa. Now, several locations are experiencing extreme heat, placing them in the danger zone. At the top of the list is Dagupan in Pangasinan. This will come with a heat index of 44 degrees Celsius. Now, this is followed by Catanduanes, Sangli Point in Cavite, and Butuan City in Agusan del Sur, or around 43 degrees Celsius. So hot weather over there, at least it will feel that hot in particular. Other areas under the danger zone with a heat index of 42 degrees Celsius include the following: Itiague in Isabela, San Ildefonso in Bulacan, Camilig, Tarlac, Iba, Zambales, Subic Bay, Olongapo, and Cuyo, Palawan. All those with 42 degrees Celsius. Now, 42 degrees Celsius in the heat index are also expected in Rojas City, Iloilo City, Panglao, Bohol, Catarman, Northern Samar, Dipolog in Zamboanga del Norte, and Musuan in Bukidnon. Locations experiencing a heat index of 41 degrees Celsius that are now classified under extreme caution include Metro Manila, Tuguegarao City, Clark, Pampanga, Muñoz, Nueva Ecija, Hacienda Luisita in Tarlac, Tanawan in Batangas, Coron, Palawan, and Puerto Princesa over in Palawan as well. All of these with 41 degrees Celsius. Now, you can also expect similar weather conditions or similar temperatures over in San Jose, Occidental Mindoro, Daet, Camarines Norte, Huban in Sorsogon, Masbate City, and Dumangas in Iloilo. Additional areas under extreme caution are La Granja in La Carlota, Negros Occidental, Tacloban, Leyte, Davao City, Cotabato City, General Santos City, and Hinatuan, Surigao del Sur. Locations with a heat index of 4 degrees Celsius under extreme caution. Now, this will include Quezon City, Bacnotan, La Union, Baler, Aurora, Alabat, Quezon, Mulunay, Quezon, Zamboanga City, and Surigao City. Now, with these extreme heat conditions, it is essential to take the necessary precautions. Stay hydrated, avoid direct sun exposure for long periods, and wear light and loose-fitting clothing. Now, if you're outdoors, if you have to be outdoors, make sure you take frequent breaks in cool and shady spots. Listen to your body. If you experience any dizziness, nausea, or any discomfort, seek shelter and cool down immediately. Stay safe and alert through these intense weather conditions. Now, let's take a look how the sea conditions are being affected, and right now, not being affected at all. No gale warning, as you can see here, allowing the fishermen and mariners to safely venture out to sea. However, it is crucial to remain vigilant and keep an eye on any weather updates or advisories that may be issued. Now, weather conditions can change rapidly, very quickly, almost without notice, so it's important to prioritize safety and be prepared. Well, that's it for Weather HQ at the moment. Mo, back to you.
Thank you, Pao. Now we have some more news that you can use. The House Tri-Committee held a hearing on misinformation and disinformation, attended by influencers, media, and representatives from social media giant Meta. Facebook says community standards and fact-checking are in place to screen content on Facebook. But congressmen are not happy with the time it takes to take down erring posts, which Meta says takes 6 to 24 hours. The committee argued that's more than enough time for fake news to go viral. As moderators are based in Singapore, Meta also received criticism on its lack of moderators in the Philippines.
Sinusuportahan ko po itong initiative ninyo na labanan ng mga fake news. Kasama ho kami dyan. Yung mga misinformation at saka disinformation. Kasama na rito po ang deepfake. Naging biktima rin ho ako niyan. Marami sa aming mga broadcaster. Bunso din po ng Gen AI at ang iba pa mga advanced technology po ngayon.
Lawmakers are raising concerns over the increasing number of bullying cases in Metro Manila schools. Senate Basic Education Committee Chair Senator Win Gatchalian says good manners and right conduct classes, or GMRC, must be strengthened to provide better guidance for minors. The Education Department also plans to form a Child Protection Committee and a team of specialists to focus on bullying cases. This follows a string of incidents in Metro Manila, including one in Parañaque, where a grade 8 male student fatally stabbed his female classmate.
Nakakabahala yung nangyari, pero mas nakakabahala isipin na meron tayong mga ganitong susunod na henerasyon.
Veteran international lawyer Dov Jacobs appointed as Associate Counsel of former President Rodrigo Duterte. Jacobs is experienced with legal proceedings in the ICC. Apart from being a defense counsel, he is an assistant professor on public international law and a founding member of the ICC Bar Association. Jacobs will be working alongside Nicholas Kaufman, the lead defense counsel of FPRRD.
Charges have been dropped against 17 of OFWs previously detained in Qatar after joining a protest rally condemning the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte. But one OFW among the 17 claims there was no actual protest that happened. Joseph Rivera clarifies they were simply having a picnic party at a private resort.
Basically, ang nangyari is meron na imbitahan tayo sa isang community sa Lusalo noong March 27. No? Ito ay paghahanda ng Filipino community dahil sa pagtatapos ng Ramadan. Ito ay ginanap sa isang pribadong resort. At nataon na yung start ng overnight picnic na ito ay nataon na bisperas. No? Bisperas ito ng kaarawan ng dating Pangulong Duterte.
Rivera thanked the embassy for giving them a lawyer and the Qatari government for giving them swift justice.
A House bill was filed seeking to make misogynistic remarks and gender-based harassment as grounds for election disqualification. This comes after a few candidates were called out for their quips that make fun of women during their campaign events. Gabriela party list filed the Bawal Bastos sa Eleksyon House Bill, which proposes amendments to the prohibited acts in the Omnibus Election Code.
Usually kami yung target ng mga politicians sa kanilang mga pagpapatawa, sa kanilang mga campaign sorties. Kaya tingin namin, malakas kasi yung loob ng mga politiko na magpahayag ng mga sexist and misogynistic remarks kasi alam nila na walang mahigpit na magiging sanction laban sa kanila.
The National Police is bringing back its media security vanguards in time for the upcoming May elections. The PNP and the Presidential Task Force assured journalists of their safety amid increasing threats to the security of media professionals. The task force also says it seeks to improve coordination with agencies such as the Justice Department and the NBI, especially with the midterm polls fast approaching.
With the launch of ito sa media vanguards natin ng PNP, alam na ng media kung saan sila pupunta. Ngayon po, ang PPFO, mas magkakaroon na po ng kaparusahan ang anumang krimen na gagawin laban sa media. Dapat alam din nila yung role ng media. Dapat hindi sila onion skin halimbawa kasi tumatakbo sila ng public office.
About 200,000 Filipinos were able to secure employment between the months of January and February. According to the Philippine Statistics Authority, unemployment rate went down to 3.8% in February from 4.3% the previous month. According to National Statistician Claire Dennis Mapa, the main job generator in February was the accommodation and food service industry.
Tatlo yung subsectors dito na nag-contribute. Una itong restaurants and mobile food service activities na may dagdag na 281,000. Kasama na rin yung short-term accommodation activities na may dagdag na 75,000 at event catering na may dagdag na 42,000.
After the recent eruption of Mount Kanlaon on Tuesday morning, several areas, including Carlota, were affected by ashfall, leading to suspension of classes and the evacuation of nearby communities. To discuss the ongoing relief efforts and environmental impacts of the eruption, we have on the phone OCD Deputy Chief of Staff and Spokesperson, Mr. Chris Bendijo. Magandang umaga po. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hi, Paolo. Good morning.
Sir Chris, can you give us an update first on the situation in and around Kanlaon, especially after its eruption? Of course, yung immediate response po ng gobyerno.
Yes, after the eruption yesterday, first, PHIVOLCS is considering this as a minor eruption. No? That's why there's no elevation of the alert level to 4. It's still maintained at alert level 3. But considering the eruption, which had a height of about 4,000 meters, no? There is significant ashfall in the surrounding areas and barangays. That's why the initial demand from the local government units would be for face masks and water. And for the OCD, we have prepositioned around 12,000 face masks in the area that is ready to complement those that will be deployed by the LGUs. And of course, the LGUs as well as the Philippine Red Cross also deployed water rationing trucks to cater to the needs of our kababayans.
You mentioned po that the face masks are one of the first actions taken by the OCD, or at least to help address yung ashfall po. But in terms of the other resources that are being deployed there, especially when it comes to the food and water provisions for those in any evacuation centers, could you give us more clarity on the type of resources available po?
Yes. Regarding food items, our DSWD has ready items, no? Yung kanilang mga warehousing, they have already put up the system that they are ready to deploy at any given time around 200,000 food packs, no? So with respect to the deployment of food packs, this is handled by DSWD, and I'll verify, but I'm pretty sure that they have already deployed this already.
Sir, are there any areas in particular that have been affected na medyo nahihirapan puntahan ng relief efforts?
We have to consider that it was advantageous for us to maintain our citizens in the evacuation centers. So very minimal need for forced evacuation. We just encountered a few individuals because if you remember, we allowed certain individuals to go back within the 6-kilometer danger zone for purposes of planting, harvesting. So it was just a very limited number for purposes of evacuation. But considering the ashfall, we are anticipating perhaps a significant increase as to number of families and individuals who might seek shelter in our evacuation centers. At present, we're monitoring 5 affected LGUs. That's a total of 22 evacuation centers.
A challenge, sir, in Carlota City, according to the DRRMO, is that they have had to conduct water filtration due to contamination po sa water supply po nila. Is this something the OCD is helping support? And of course, how much of an issue is yung clean and safe drinking water po in the affected areas?
That's correct. No? A necessary consequence of ashfall would be contamination of our water resources. Hence, there is really a significant need for water filtration. For purposes of water filtration, just to give you some numbers, no, from February 6 to April 7, no, a total of 160,000 liters for potable water has been filtered and processed. For purposes of cleaning, hygiene, and washing, that would be a total of 25,700 liters of water. That's a total of almost 200,000 liters of water. This will be significantly affected by the sources of water that we can get. But our resources are there. The water filtration systems of OCD, as well as the other LGUs, no, are there in the areas. to cater to the needs of our kababayans.
Is there any extra medical support po considering the fact that the ashfall does affect, could actually exacerbate mga respiratory problems, especially for those in the affected areas? You mentioned giving out yung mga face masks po, but for those who have been adversely affected by the ashfall, is there any extra medical services being provided to those, especially sa mga evacuation centers po natin?
That's correct. No? If you recall, perhaps weeks before, the president had already instructed the creation of the Task Force Kanlaon. And part of its function is to ensure the inventory of medicines in the area, considering that we have protracted effects of Kanlaon. And this will be, again, affected by the recent eruption. But in terms of inventory of medical supplies, it has been checked just last week, and we have sufficient medical supplies to address this issue.
You mentioned po that this task force actually has been present before this eruption. In fact, this situation has been monitored for quite a significant period po. Just how effective do you feel was the preemptive preparations po for this particular eruption, considering yun nga, there haven't had to be forced evacuations or very limited po, and of course there was even ways for resources already in place by the time the eruption did happen.
Okay, just to clarify, Paolo, no, the Task Force Kanlaon that was created by the President, this is the interagency task force. No?
Yes, Paolo.
But the OCD already, through the Secretary of National Defense, created a Task Force Kanlaon within OCD that is chaired by Director Raul Fernandez. Now, in terms of the actions done for the OCD Task Force Kanlaon, again, you're correct. No? All preemptive measures really benefited us. No? The fact that we asked our citizens to stay in the evacuation centers, I guess the results would be, and we're still hoping that this will be confirmed. No? We have zero casualty with the recent eruption. So I think the preemptive measures are really effective. Now, as to the task force Kanlaon created by the President, this looks to the long term as to what solutions can be done, because his comment is that it's very clear. No? This cannot happen every single time Mount Kanlaon will erupt. So Task Force Kanlaon, as created by the President, will now look towards long-term solutions, location of areas outside the permanent danger zones, relocation of our citizens who are living within the permanent danger zone of 4 kilometers. And this will go hand in hand. We have both short-term and long-term solutions in the pipeline.
You mentioned po long-term effects, and that actually leads me to my next question. Of course, environmentally, there will be consequences from the eruption, especially when it comes to yung agriculture sector po natin, of course, the local ecosystems. Are there any steps already being taken to mitigate any of the adverse effects, especially sa agriculture po natin?
That's correct. No? Close to 130 million already is in terms of damage to agriculture has been recorded. Now, as to solutions, we are coordinating with our Department of Agriculture what can be done for our farmers to help them recover from this disaster. No? Now, as you also correctly pointed out, there are environmental impacts. Of course, ashfall will affect the ability of plants for photosynthesis, and of course, our crops. No? So we are closely monitoring, and again, one of the functions of the Task Force Kanlaon as created by the President is to identify areas that will be safe for purposes of planting, for purposes of these farming activities. No? So there are programs in place, and I think the Department of Agriculture will also release seedlings for our farmers so that they can, again, slowly recover from this disaster.
You mentioned a while ago that a lot of preemptive measures were already taken, considering na medyo expected po that Mount Kanlaon would be active, and it turned out to be true, especially with the recent eruption. Does this mean that those in the evacuation centers are actually closer to actually returning to their homes, or are they going to be kept there still as a precautionary measure for the foreseeable future?
Okay, first, I think we've discussed this before, no? That there's no exact science to predict eruptions of volcanoes. But based on the recent data from PHIVOLCS, they are considering this still as a minor eruption, and the possibility of a major eruption is still there. No? So in terms of the decision whether or not to allow our citizens to return to their homes, I think we'll have to rely on PHIVOLCS for that.
Mm-hmm. Considering that we do have to rely on PHIVOLCS' decision, and of course, at the moment, it doesn't seem like babalik po sila based on the recent data. How are the resources of the OCD and, of course, the other resources coming in to be able to handle a more protracted stay, especially right now na there's probably added stress on yung resources, especially after the recent eruption?
That's very true, no? But I think the message of the president is very clear. He compared the services with respect to disaster response to that of a conveyor belt. So the impression is that you just have to keep on going, providing services just continuously. With the recent passage of the guidelines for the Quick Response Fund, I think that will really help for us to be able to procure additional items to support this protracted stay of our citizens in the evacuation centers. The DSWD, they're just really like a working factory, day in, day out, they just produce food packs. And like what I said, they are ready to deploy 200,000 food packs at any given time at any location in the Philippines. Our strengthening of our disaster risk reduction management plans from the local to the barangay levels is there. So we are ready to respond to this disaster. It's just really asking for patience for our citizens. I know that it's very difficult for you to stay in the evacuation center, but we really cannot afford to risk your safety just for the sake of you returning to your houses. So kapit lang po, no? Just a little more patience. Hopefully this will really pass.
Sir Chris, for those wondering, especially those in the area, how can they stay updated po, with regard to all of the announcements and, of course, all the progress made by the OCD?
Yes, we suggest to attentively listen to announcements from your LGUs because the coordination is there from the national government all the way to your LGUs. If you want to have additional information, you may visit the website of OCD, the NDRMC, and I think the more important website to visit is the one of FIVOLCS, no? For you to be able to be updated of situational reports, especially with respect to volcanic eruptions.
He is a Deputy Chief of Staff and Spokesperson for the Office of Civil Defense, Chris Bendijo. Maraming salamat po. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Now moving on to world news. France is looking to retaliate against U.S. President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs. Countries from the European Union, including France, face 25% import tariffs on steel and aluminum and broader tariffs of 20% for almost all other goods. French President Emmanuel Macron said the tariffs were a bad idea and that they never wished for chaos.
Les choses sont simples.
Things are simple. France and Europe have never wished for chaos or higher tariffs. We think it's a bad idea and a poor response to the trade deficit. We've also always said that we defend our economy. So if there are tariffs and they're at 20%, we will respond. But we believe that today's priorities lie elsewhere. That if we want to do more business, gain market share, we have to be more competitive. We have to continue the reforms, the work. We have to invest in innovation and succeed in these paths rather than impose tariffs. And so we want to see a reduction in tariffs.
No tariff exemptions are on the table in the near term, according to U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer. Greer, who oversees the implementation of the tariffs, also said there is no particular timeline for trade negotiations. Dozens of governments have reached out to the White House seeking to negotiate the tariffs, including Vietnam and Indonesia, who have offered to cut tariffs on some U.S. imports. Trump has already implemented a 10% tariff on all imports, and targeted tariffs up to 50% on many trading partners are due to take effect tomorrow.
Senator, the president has been clear with me and with others that he does not intend to have exclusions and exemptions, especially given the nature of the action. If you have Swiss cheese in the action, it can undermine the overall point, which is to get rid of the deficit, achieve reciprocity.
Over in sports, Filipino tennis star Alex Ayala is ready for the big time on the clay courts of France. The newly minted women's world number 73 is making her Grand Slam main draw debut at the French Open. But first, she's gearing up for a string of tournaments, starting with a WTA event in Portugal on April 14. The 19-year-old is fresh off a breakthrough semifinal run at the Miami Open, where she defeated not one, not two, but three former Grand Slam champions. The French Open begins on May 19 and runs until June 8.
Of course, I'm excited for the Grand Slams ahead. Roland Garros, I know that I will be in the main draw. So I'm very excited about that. My first time to be in the main draw. So it's a new experience and everything to gain.
Back here at home, Petrogas draws first blood against the Creamline Cool Smashers in the championship series of the PVL All-Filipino Conference. The challengers stunned the champs in Game 1 of the finals Tuesday at the Smart Araneta Coliseum. Petrogas won in 5 thrilling sets with MJ Phillips leading the way with 16 big points. Game 2 of the finals is on Thursday, April 10, still at the Big Dome. And a stunning development in the NBA. The Denver Nuggets part ways with longtime head coach Michael Malone. The Nuggets made the announcement on social media early this morning, Philippine time. David Adelman will take over as interim head coach for the remainder of the season. The Nuggets management also say General Manager Calvin Booth will not be extended. Malone led the Nuggets to his first ever NBA championship back in 2023, defeating the Miami Heat in 5 games. The dismissals come in the final week of the regular season, where Denver is on a 4-game losing skid.
Now in entertainment news, the man who brought Tetris to the world, Hank Rogers, shares his life journey in his new book, The Perfect Game Tetris, From Russia with Love. While part of the story was told in the 2023 film Tetris, Rogers wanted to set the record straight and give his own version without a movie script to hold him back.
Don't be afraid to step out of the box. Everybody lives in a box, and the box is your life, your job or your whatever it is. And once you're outside, do not get back in that box, because you are now in rare territory. All the people who've been successful ever found a way to get outside the box, and they didn't go back.
Today, Rogers' interest is beyond the gaming world and in solutions for climate change. He says if everything goes to plan, no one will remember him as the guy who found Tetris, but as the guy who solved climate change. Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, shares her harrowing experience after giving birth to one of her children. On the debut episode of her new podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder, she talked about her postpartum preeclampsia, a condition that can lead to serious complications for both the mother and infant if not treated correctly. Meghan didn't reveal whether she had the condition with her first or second child, but talks about how juggling work and childcare, saying she wouldn't have it any other way. Now up ahead, we're geeking about the talk of the town in running shoes and other goings-on about the running community. Catch our conversation with multi-sport athlete and coach Ige Lopez after the break. It's a beautiful day. We'll be right back.
Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb.
The questions.
What did you uncover?
Kita natin yung sa IPO. There was a violation of Section 8 of Republic Act 9511.
The issues.
Is there a problem with that, the present setup of the Syntax?
The reason there's a 5% increase is because of inflation.
We clarify matters.
All these government agencies were actually the lowest. That's why it has to be, I hope that it will be addressed.
Pinky Webb is always on point. Pinky Webb, Corina Sanchez Rojas, Agenda, 6 p.m. on BNC, the Billionario News Channel.
Good morning, I'm Mikey Oreta and you're watching Business 360 where we break down the numbers.
This week we saw the S&P 500 make a new historic high.
Connect the dots.
They withdrew from the World Health Organization.
And give you the developments and insights you need to navigate, adapt, and lead. Real Corporation is funding artificial intelligence and data science research at the University of the Philippines.
Business 360, hosted by Mikey Oreta.
Keep it here on BNC,
the Billionario News Channel. Let us remember the heroes who fought for our liberty and cherish the the freedom we hold today. Honor the past. Embrace the future.
And welcome back. You're still watching It's a Beautiful Day. People pick up running for its health benefits, and while others get addicted to the grind and hooked on the euphoria and mental clarity it gives, others enjoy this one specific aspect too: gears, specifically shoes. But the question is, do average runners really need high-end shoes? Now let's talk about it with multi-sport coach and endurance athlete Ige Lopez. It's a beautiful day, coach. Good morning.
Yes, hi, good morning.
Now,
Hi.
coach, I'm not a runner, and I'm sure some of our viewers who don't know anything about running, this is the first that I've heard of a carbon plate shoe. So can you explain what that is first and foremost?
Okay, well, carbon-plated shoes are basically, yes, carbon plates that they insert in the midsole, and then it's quite rigid and it's very stiff. But it's the good thing there, it gives you a pretty good bounce, and it's sort of like there's like an energy return that will help you propel better when you run or when you do a push-off. Yes.
Coach, you know, when I'm looking at all this technology, and first of all, I'm a casual runner, not really a serious runner. I don't really train for events. Though, what I do know, talking to a lot of runners, is that one of the things that forces them to run is that ang dami nilang bagong sapatos eh. Like every time they run, there's always a new shoe na kailangan may rotation sila. And carbon plates are something that they're considering more and more. But it also comes with a bit of a cost. For the casual runner, why would they, or why should they, or at least consider carbon plates? Or do you feel that this should be something na, okay, hindi ka naman gano'ng kaseryoso, maybe you don't need the carbon plate technology when it comes to actually enjoying running?
Yeah, well, yeah, to be honest, you don't really need carbon-plated shoes. You just need a decent shoe that has good upper material, that is very breathable, a good midsole, and that is, it's pretty cushioned enough, but it has stability. It should have support, and it can last, several months, or and many kilometers of running. Yes.
Well, Coach, just looking at some of the times in general, kasi sinasabi nga nila that carbon plate shoes actually can really help out, cut off a few seconds, maybe a few minutes, depending on how quickly you go, from your record time. Now, when you hear about people turning to technology to try and make their time, well, a bit more appealing or beat their own PRs, their own records, some people are against that, considering na hindi naman totoo kasi dahil sa sapatos yan eh, because of technology. Where do you stand when that type of conversation comes up?
Well, to be honest, it's really meant for the more seasoned runners, for seasoned athletes, because you have to really build your muscles first. You have to build the right technique. You have to build the deep, basic aerobic base foundation. So if you don't have any of these foundation, these high-tech shoes might even be more at disadvantage for you, because it's because your footwork is not efficient enough, and then that might lead you to more injuries. So I would suggest that you would stick to the basic shoes, and then you can use these high-tech shoes for maybe shorter. If you're more familiar with running already, if you're like maybe been running for more than a year or so, because that for more or less you'll be you're more accustomed to it already. But if you're not used to the running form, the efficiency, you're not using your foot strike is not correct, that might definitely lead you to injuries. So yes.
Yeah, no, that's so interesting. And it's interesting as well that you mentioned earlier that with the carbon plates, it's actually stiffer. And I read an article that typically you just use the shoes with carbon plates during race day. But for those runners who have bought carbon shoes already, what do you recommend, or what advice do you have for them? They can just use the shoes, I guess, in everyday training.
Well, they can rotate it. That would be good. They can get maybe a cheaper shoe, and then another shoe. That carbon-plated shoe, so that they can use it and rotate it. So you can use it for maybe shorter runs until you get more comfortable to it. And then once you are comfortable with that carbon-plated shoe, then you can gradually increase your mileage on that shoe. Because using using these stiff shoes might definitely put a strain on your calves, on your shins, on your sole. So trying to gradually build up towards that will definitely help you sustain it. Sustain your running better.
Coach, I love that because I can already imagine it right now. Someone watching this program saying that, did you hear that? Coach Ige said I have to buy more shoes to change the rotation.
That's me.
Oh,
my gosh, I have a shoe problem, especially when it comes to running shoes, even though I don't run.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's a different story. But Coach, just from a technical perspective here, kasi medyo stiff nga ang carbon plating. And there are shoes with certain break-in periods, especially like you need to hit a certain number of kilometers before it actually softens up or when it actually starts feeling comfortable. Normally, how long does that take? Kasi syempre, you mentioned perhaps only use the carbon-plated shoes for race day, but then is the break-in period a bit of a challenge there when it comes to keeping that type of usage in mind?
Well, I tell my athletes actually to use it first. Start it by running maybe 5K or 30 minutes of running. Try to adapt yourself to the new shoe, to the new technology. And then once you're accustomed to it, then pwede mo na siyang iparada. You can park it first and then use your other shoes. And then once your race is coming up, you can use it again. You can try to use it for a couple of long runs, just to let your body adapt to it. And then try to find that sweet spot with that shoe. And then when you're comfortable with it, then you can park it there. And then maybe a week before the race, you can use it again. And then on race day, you'll be ready and you're using that racing shoe.
Your body has to adapt to it talaga, na, Coach?
Yeah, so usually talaga you get to cover around 40 to 50K. That's good enough that's a good break-in mileage for that shoe.
Wow, that's a long time for me, 40 to 50K.
Para kay Coach, two days lang yan eh.
I know, probably kaya ni Coach yan one day. But Coach, as I mentioned, I have a shoe of people think I'm crazy because when I do training, I have different shoes depending on what I'm training, right? If I'm lifting, I have a different shoe. If I'm doing circuits, I have a different shoe. So when it comes to running, when people think of running shoes, I just think of one type of running shoes. But I know there's a lot. There's endurance, there's speed. I guess there's different types. So does it really help to have different shoes for the different types of running?
Well, it's nice to have if you have the freedom of to purchase more shoes. That would be good. But because you have to rotate it, because when you run, you have to work on many components. Like for speed, you need lighter shoes para mas mabilis yung angat ng paa, and then mas feel mo yung ground. And also you can use for long runs. So when you're doing long runs, you need to have a more thicker shoe, a more cushioned shoe that will help you sustain like running for 2, 3, or 4 hours. While using a daily trainer, like a regular shoe that you can use during your weekday runs, that's also good. So having maybe 2 to 3 pairs would definitely help. And then that will also help your shoes last longer. Because one pair of shoe can only last maybe 300 to 500 kilometers, depending on how you use it. So if you rotate it, like if you rotate 3 pairs, then you'll be, and then you can use it longer for maybe a year. You'll be good for maybe 6 months, or depending on the weekly mileage that you do. But having more pairs will definitely help and lessen the chances of injury.
Okay, more pairs, noted, Coach. But for those who are just starting to run and I want to start running, it's daunting and kind of expensive to buy a few pairs of running shoes. So what is your advice to those who are trying to find the perfect first running shoe? Because I know there's a lot to consider. There's if you pronate or not, etc., if you have bad knees. So what is your advice for that one pair of shoe?
Well, for me, get that shoe that really fits you well. Okay, just get the basics that you have to have an inch space in front of the shoe, so you can have there will be a time for, because when your foot lands, it spreads out and may impact. So you have to have maybe a roomier toe box, because if it's kind of narrow or medyo restricted, then you might have dead toes later on. So we want to prevent that. So it's nice to have a more comfortable shoe by having a more relaxed toe box, and then the upper material should be tough enough so it can last longer. And then you don't have to get the high-end shoes. Just get the mid-range or the entry level, and then progress from there. Who knows? You might baka hindi pala you won't like running naman pala. So sayang naman yung 15,000 peso shoe. So try to get a good price range should be around maybe 3,000 to 5,000 pesos. So you can look for that, because the higher the price range of the shoe, the more technology it has. So it's because of the technology they put in on the midsole, on the materials. That's how, and then the weight. So the higher the price, the more technology, hence lighter, more technology, the carbon plates and everything. But you don't really need all those tech unless you're really a very experienced runner already.
Coach, I in my mind, there is a couple right now fighting in front of a TV, listening to this interview about the shoes that they want to buy today. That's all your fault, Coach. But we really appreciate you for joining us anyway, and we really appreciate all the insights that you've given.
Enjoy shopping.
Yeah, Coach, I'm ready to buy my first running shoe. I'll definitely hit you up, and one day we'll run together. Thank you so much, Coach. That's multi-sport coach and endurance athlete, Ige Lopez.
All right, so we've got more stories for you after the break. Don't run away. It's a beautiful day. We'll be right back. And welcome back. You're still watching It's a Beautiful Day. The newest physical fitness center in Pasig City just opened its doors, and our Mojo Ivy Reyes brings you the story.
A one-stop shop with physical therapists and coaches. This is Active Motion Plus, the newest physical fitness center here in Pasig City. A pioneer in promoting seamless rehabilitation treatments, A&P offers physical therapy and strength and conditioning treatments.
What we saw was there's a gap between physical therapy and return to play. Now, PTs and coaches are usually separate, so you won't see a gym with a physical therapy clinic. So what we did is we combined those two.
How unique is A&P?
Sometimes when people are looking for a gym or a clinic or even to get a doctor's consult, they have to go to 3 different places. And that can be very hard to do. So the whole goal was to kind of streamline that whole process.
DJ Hao, a basketball player of Andiran College, is excited to have his first treatment for his sprained ankle.
Just by the looks of it, the tools, everything looks modern and very helpful.
A&P offers the following treatments: musculoskeletal injury treatment, sports injury treatment and prevention, post-operative treatment, acute and chronic injury treatment, and geriatric therapy. For strength and conditioning, they also offer sports performance enhancement, personal training, and return to play. In short, the A&P branding isn't all about rehabilitation, but also prevention. Evidence-based results tailored to your needs. This is the Active Motion Plus branding. A&P is located at the 2nd floor of Ayala Malls the 30th here in Pasig City. Ivy Reyes, Billionaire News Channel.
An expert is skeptical about claims from an American biotech firm it has revived a long extinct wolf species. Global ecology professor Corey Bradshaw explains it's practically impossible to modify the entire genomes of animals that have been extinct for thousands of years. The expert also called out the supposed lack of transparency behind the project. U.S.-based company Colossal Biosciences released footage on Monday, which featured a pair of adolescent dire wolf cubs. The company claims it extracted DNA from dire wolf fossils, including a tooth dated to 13,000 years ago and a 72,000-year-old inner ear bone.
So, yes, they have slightly genetically modified wolves, maybe. And that's probably the best that you're going to get. And those slight modifications seem to have been derived from retrieved direwolf material. Does that make it a direwolf? No. Does it make a slightly modified grey wolf? Yes. And that's probably about it. When you claim all these great big things and then you don't provide the associated evidence, especially in something as controversial as this, that is a massive red flag. It suggests that, no, at best, they've over-exaggerated. At worst, they're lying through their teeth.
I am so interested in that.
I want one.
Wait
they
lang.
are so cute.
We don't even know if they're dire wolves or grey wolves.
I don't care what wolves they are. They're just so cute. They're dogs that look like polar bears. Look, they're adorable. Actually, I also read an article yesterday that they're trying to resurrect the woolly mammoth.
Yeah.
Too, which Ice Age.
What?
That is so interesting.
Gusto mo rin ng woolly mammoth?
Pwede din. Ikaw, yung woolly mammoth ko.
But you know what? Just looking at it, a lot of people went back to Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Sorry, because they want a dire wolf.
Because that's where they're from.
It's insane. Again, we don't know if these are actual real dire wolves. Of course, there are skeptics out there. There are critics about it.
Yeah, they're saying that it's not actually from a dire wolf genome. They're saying it's from a grey wolf.
Yeah, it's that's why they're saying
Yeah.
like a slightly genetically modified grey wolf. Pero puti siya so I don't know. But of course, yung sa woolly mammoth naman, if I'm not mistaken, the initial experiments are actually on rats.
Which it's really
so there's like a
interesting.
woolly rat right now, but that doesn't necessarily mean there's a woolly
So
mammoth
if you
coming.
see a big daga running, that's the woolly daga.
Woolly
Oh my
mammoth.
God, that's my worst fear. I
Woolly
hate
mouse moth.
dagas.
Oo.
Woolly mouse moth.
Of course, but again, we'll see if woolly mammoths will come back to life or kung totoong dire wolf nga to.
Yeah, we'll
Just
see.
Look at that.
They're so
It's
adorable.
Snow. What's the name of the Jon Snow's
I
wolf?
forgot his name. The dire wolf.
Oh my gosh, it's so
You have
bad.
to Google it while Master Hans is playing. So
Then-
while Paolo's gonna check that out, because I want to know what the name is. Let's find out if today is your
Ghost.
lucky day. Ghost.
Ghost. I think it was
Ayan na,
Ghost. Yeah.
Cute. Well, let's find out if we're lucky or not. And I know Anna's watching because she needs to hear her horoscope of the day. Our resident energizer and feng shui master Hans Kua is today here with our horoscope of the day.
Good morning! It's a beautiful day with me, Master Hans Kua. Ito po ang horoscope for today, Wednesday, April 9. Para sa mga pinanganak ng Year of the Rat, mag-ingat sa mga taong nagtatago ng kanilang tunay na intensyon. Huwag magpadalos-dalos sa desisyon. Orange at 4. Kay Ox naman tayo, eat green at leafy vegetable para healthy ang katawan. Purple at 7. Kay Tiger naman tayo, ang positive at good vibes ay magdadala ng success sa work mo. Red at 8. Kay Rabbit naman tayo, mag-ingat sa mga taong mahilig sa gaslighting. Proteksyonan ang emotional health mo. Green at 9. Kay Dragon naman tayo, mag-ingat sa mga emails o report. Double check ang trabaho. Pink at 1. Kay Year of the Snake naman, mag-invest sa tools na nagpapadali sa trabaho o sa negosyo. Yellow at 4. Ito naman! Kay of the Horsey, maglaan ng oras para sa mentorship. Ang pagtulong sa iba ay magbibigay ng positive na energy. Orange at 4. Kay of the Ship naman tayo, iwasan ng utang. Maglaan ng emergency fund upang hindi magipit. Purple at 7. Kay Monkey naman balanced diet is the key. Easy lang sa processed foods. Red at 2. Kay Rooster naman tayo, relax, sit back, and enjoy. chillax din pag may time. Red at 3. Kay Dog naman, huwag matakot magpakita ng leadership skills. Maaaring ito ay mapansin na ni Boss. Blue at 6. Kay Pig naman, maglaan ng oras para sa meditation upang mabawasan ang stress. Green at 8. Ako po, si Master Hans Kua. Paalala lang ito po'y patnubay lamang. Ang tunay na swerte ay nagsisimula sa pagiging totoo. Abangan araw-araw ang horoscope of the day dito lang po sa It's a Beautiful Day with me, Master Hans Kua.
Thank you so much, Master Hans. I'm gonna sit back and relax now. Paolo's gonna take over. Sabi niya, mag-relax daw ako.
But remember, as Mo would say it's just a patnubay.
It's just a patnubay. But that's what I'm feeling. So I wanna relax. So tama si Master Hans today.
So, anyway.
Ikaw yung mentor ko, so mentor away.
Yeah, yung sa akin, as the year of the Horsey, diba? I have to put aside time for mentorship. But he didn't specify if I should learn or I should be teaching.
Both.
Okay, so after the break, I'll be speaking with DOST Pag-asa Deputy Administrator for Operations and Services regarding the newly launched flood warning system in the Cagayan de Oro River Basin. It's a beautiful day. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching It's a Beautiful Day. This is the Weather HQ segment. The Department of Science and Technology has officially launched the Cagayan de Oro River Basin Flood Forecasting and Warning System to enhance the flood monitoring in the region. Now, this cutting-edge system is a significant step forward in improving disaster preparedness and response, particularly in northern Mindanao. Now, to give us more insight into this modern flood warning system and how it will improve flood forecasting, we are joined via Zoom by Roy Badilla, the Pag-asa Deputy Administrator for Operations and Services. Magandang umaga, Sir Roy. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's a beautiful day.
Magandang umaga po, Sir Paolo. And magandang umaga po sa inyong taga-pakinig at taga-panood.
Sir Roy, pag-usapan muna natin ang Cagayan de Oro River Basin. In terms of yung risks niya, in terms of flooding, just how big of a problem was flooding sa area po nito? And one of the reasons why nandito po yung sistema na to.
Okay, yung Cagayan de Oro River Basin is one of the major river basins dito sa Pilipinas. Napakalaki ng problema natin dito sa baha dahil unang-una, yung ma-epekto talaga dito ay yung flash flood tinatawag natin. Ito yung mga kind of flooding kung saan mabilis po yung pagdaloy ng tubig from the mountains down to the city of Cagayan de Oro. Kung mapapansin natin, may mga mountain ranges upstream ng Cagayan de Oro na siyang mga nagbibigay ng steep slopes papunta po sa Cagayan de Oro. So kung makikita natin sa monitor natin ngayon, mga mountains po yung nasa taas, so napakababa po ng Cagayan de Oro. So iyon po yung nagbibigay sa atin ng malaking problema at saka napakalaking challenge para sa flood forecast and early warning system. Plus, circular po yung shape ng ating Cagayan de Oro River Basin, meaning madali po siyang maka-apekto doon sa Cagayan de Oro compared doon sa longitudinal or elongated na mga river basins kung saan meron tayong enough time para mag-warn sa people in Cagayan de Oro.
So yung description ng bagong system po ninyo is cutting edge po ito. What makes it cutting edge? Ano po ang mga bago sa sistema nito? And of course, what is special about yung warning system and how can it benefit yung Cagayan de Oro?
Maliban po kasi doon sa normal natin na ilinalagay na mga rainfall and automatic rain gauges, ito po yung mga kadalasan na naka-install sa ating mga major river basins. Mga automated po ito, sir. Automated yung transmission. Maliban po doon, mayroon po tayong linagay na 2 X-band radar. So itong X-band radar na to, ito po yung magtutulong sa atin mag-estimate ng rainfall. Hindi pa po bumabagsak or hindi pa nakakarating sa lupa ang mga tubig ulan, ay na-estimate na po natin or nalalaman na natin kung saan or kung gaano kalaki yung tubig na babagsak doon sa taas, ganun din sa baba. So madali po nating maipo-forecast yung ating mga water level downstream or kung kailan maapektuhan yung mga tao natin or community downstream ng Cagayan.
Sir, one of the biggest factors sa disaster risk reduction is the fact na kailangan may lead time yung mga citizens to and of course yung mga LGU para mag-respond sa mga early warnings. Just how much early warning can this system give yung mga LGUs, mga decision makers po natin with this new system, especially when it comes to yung flood mitigation po?
Okay. Maliban po doon sa mga radars natin, kasi ang tama po kayo, kailangan talaga natin ng extra lead time. Kasi kung titingnan natin yung ating river basin, medyo may kaliitan po siya, around 1,500 square kilometers lang po siya at katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, circular and shape. So madali pong mag-ipon-ipon yung tubig dyan sa may gitna banda area. So flashy yung river po. Maliban po doon sa X-band radar, mayroon po tayong, ang Pag-asa ay mayroon pong tinatawag namin na WARF at naka-purchase din kami ng software na iba na kung saan magbibigay sa atin ng forecast rainfall. So yung forecast rainfall na ito, isasama po ito doon sa paggawa ng bulletins or kung flood warnings. Ibig sabihin nito, days before magkaroon ng baha ay alam na po natin kung gaano kalaki yung tubig na babagsak dyan sa upstream at sa downstream. Ibig sabihin, magkakaroon po tayo ng enough time para po ma-evacuate natin yung mga tao before pa dumating yung baha.
So by days na po ang lead time dahil sa sistema na to, tama po ba?
Mayroon pa tayong 5 days po, tama po.
5 days. Okay, so sir, there's a lot of data coming in and I'm sure yung mga LGUs have access to the data. Pero can you give us an idea kung paano na-disseminate yung data mula sa system all the way down to the LGU, yung mga decision makers po natin?
Una-una, start muna ako doon sa observation. For the observation, through telemetering system, ito po yung pinapadala sa ating subcenter or river center kung saan nakalocate ito doon sa Mulugan. Mulugan sa El Salvador. Then from there, mayroon din pong access ang Cagayan de Oro na LGU na doon sa data. So, yun po yung magagamit nila para sa kanilang mga preparations sa pagbabaha po. Then, nakaano din po ito, mayroon din po itong ilalagay po din po natin sa online.
Sir, this is in cooperation with JICA, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, yung JICA has been present dito sa Pilipinas trying to help mitigate disasters all throughout the region. Gaano po kalaki yung tulong ng JICA sa pag-implement po ng project na to?
Sila po ang nag-fund dito, sir. They funded binigyan po tayo ng around 930 million Japanese yen. It's around 360 million pesos para po magawa po yung system na to. So napakalaki po ng tulong ng Japanese government sa atin po pertaining dito sa disaster mitigation. Ang JICA or ang government of Japan has been helping us on this endeavor from 1972. Mula noong 1972, itinatag natin or ginawa, funded din ng Japanese government. Ang una natin ay yung Pampanga River Basin dito sa Luzon po.
Sir,
so yun po yung pinaka-movie. Yes po.
Yes, sir. Sa palagay niyo po ba, can this particular system be replicated po in other parts of the country? And considering po that this could be the start of a more modern, a more advanced way of identifying potential problems po?
For the major river basins, for the 18 major river basins dito sa Pilipinas, mayroon na po tayo mga installations na ganito. Ang kailangan lang po natin idagdag ay yung mga X-band radars po.
Alright.
Siguro, isama rin po natin yung mga principal river basins kung saan nag-uumpisa na rin po ang DOST Pag-asa mag-install ng mga equipment para magamit po ng mga LGU sa kanilang early warning for flood.
Sir, maraming salamat po. Thank you so much for all of the insights. And of course, congratulations on all of the good work. Sana po that we can have even better flood warning systems in the future all around the country, hindi lang sa Cagayan de Oro. Maraming salamat po. Thank you so much.
Thank you po.
That is the DOST Pag-asa's Deputy Administrator for Operations and Services, Mr. Roy Badilla. Now, let's go into some more controversial topics here, especially when it comes to workplace romances. Grabing segue ko, no? From the weather onto romance. Pero ito na tayo. Let's talk about workplace romances and affairs. Let's just say it's tricky when hearts and deadlines collide. That's a whole different story together. Dating Coach V will join us for Love Hacks after the break. Don't go away. It's a beautiful day. We'll be right back.
Hello, welcome back. You're still watching It's a Beautiful Day. Romance or even affairs in the workplace can get complicated, so better proceed with caution. Coach V is back on Love Hacks to talk about this even more. Take it away, Coach V.
Love hacks, we got you. No need to be sad.
Good morning, loves. It's a beautiful day. Coach V here, your go-to love solution provider, bringing you a brand new way to level up your love life. Welcome to Love Hacks. Today's episode, scandalous. You saw something you weren't supposed to, an office fling in full swing. You're not part of it, but now you're holding the secret that could blow it all up. So what now, loves? Magsusumbong ka o mananahimik lang? When you discover a workplace affair, do you expose it or stay away from it? Here's the real-life dilemma from a public local forum. Pao?
All right, so let me take this away. And I actually don't know what voice to read this in, so... May kabitan dito sa office. At alam niyo naman, pag BPO ka, usong-uso yan. May team building sila, pero in reality, team inuman lang yan sa kung anong resort. Nakakaawa yung asawa nung guy. Walang kaalam-alam. Friend ko pa, nag-joke pa. Gawa tayo ng dump account. Padala natin resibo sa asawa. Pero ako, di ko alam. Magsusumbong ba ako? O hayaan ko na lang sila. Coach V.
Nako, loves. This is not just chismis, ah. Uy, this is about someone's marriage on the line. So let's unpack this muna. Ano ba yung cultural codes dito? Why is the kabit culture thriving in some office environments? Especially sa mga nightlife heavy, events-driven, such as, BPO-style workplace. Probably is it because of proximity plus yung work pressure, so lalo silang nalalapit sa forbidden chemistry? Is it the late night shifts kaya parang nabablurred yung morals nila, pati yung lines na din sa trabaho? Is it yung team building na nagiging bodybuilding ng lihim? And the scariest part, lava, walang makakaalam becomes a lifestyle. You know what? According to a psychologist, Shirley Glass, an emotional infidelity begins long before the bedroom. It starts with private jokes, lingering looks, and alam niyo naman yung mga innocent rants about their spouse. And just like that, they're no longer teammates. They are entangled. So what if you saw it? What if you know too much? Let's ask the team, would you speak up or would you shut up? Magsusumbong ka or mananahimik lang? Magsusumbong daw.
Oo.
Okay, how about you, my love?
It depends.
It depends.
I know I'm gonna get hate for this, but it depends. If it's my friend that is cheating, I won't say anything. But if I see the spouse of my friend
Magsusumbong
cheating,
ka.
then I will sumbong. I don't know, it's
My
different.
friend
It's hard.
I think it depends talaga on who you're closer to. Are you closer to the one being cheated on or the one who's cheating?
Ooh, basta si Miss Aileen magsusumbong siya.
Oo.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Here's our reality check at yung 5 rules of engagement when you witness infidelity, but it's not your relationship. You ready? Number 1, check your motive. Are you protecting the wife or the husband or punishing the cheaters? Be honest, baka naman ikaw yung may gusto sa isang involved. That's why magsusumbong ka. If it's coming from compassion, not competition, you're standing on the higher ground. Number 2, document first, decide second. Feelings fade kasi, but screenshots don't. Kung maglalabas ka ng information, make sure it's verified at hindi lang chismis. Facts over fireworks. Number 3, if you speak, go stealth but smart. Dump account? Sure. But if your safety is at risk, nako, drop the truth with empathy. Don't ruin her life. Just help her wake up. Truth without cruelty is power. Number 4, if you stay quiet, don't play dumb naman. You don't have to be a savior, but don't laugh at their flirting. Huwag mo nang suportahan. Don't validate their lies because silent isn't always neutral. It's often a permission. Number 5, ask yourself, nako, bakit ako pa ang nakakita nito? Sometimes, the universe places you in the middle not to gossip, but to give someone the truth that they're too blind to see. So, will you have the courage? Loves, to the brave soul who ask, you're not chismoso or chismosa, you're someone with a conscience. So, in a world where cheating gets disguised as fun, sometimes telling the truth is the most loving thing you can do. If it means being the villain in someone else's love story, go. Remember, loves, we do something even when we choose nothing. Someone always pays the price for silence. And maybe, just maybe, you saw it for a reason. Pero warning lang if you've got your own skeletons naman, ako, baka it's not your turn to preach. Sweep your house first before you torch someone else's. Loves, how do you feel about that?
Before you torch someone else's.
Oh,
That's intense, Coach V.
Because di ba, who knows, nagsumbong ka, yun pala, pag sumbong mo, sinumbong ka din kasi meron ka din pala.
Oo. Make sure na malinis ka,
Yeah,
diba?
exactly.
Oh, that's what it meant, basically. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's basically, ano yun sa Bible when they say that...
Throw the stones.
If you're... the sinner, the stone throwing one. Yeah, ayun. Sorry, my words escaped me. Pero yeah, let the one without sin cast the first stone.
Cast the
syempre,
first stone.
So syempre, it's ano.
I didn't know Pao could be biblical din pala. No.
Guys,
you surprised me right there. Good job.
Depth.
Right?
Guys, I have depth. No,
Good boy pala sometimes.
Hindi. In general, conservative ako. But then, no, but that's true though. I mean, like, kasi syempre, some people, they tend to stand on the higher moral ground.
Correct.
Right? So, I mean, like, anong advice niyo, Coach B, is, if, let's say, their skeletons in the closets are there,
Yeah.
but they hear about something
Yeah.
and they want to say something about it.
Correct.
I mean, so should they just be quiet or find a different way to address it?
Yeah, I know that our message something sounds like go for it, diba? Let the person know. But personally, if I know the person, if he was my office mate, I'm gonna talk to him like, what's up with this? Are you gonna leave your wife? Because if you're gonna leave your wife eventually, you know it's gonna bite you in the butt, no? Malalaman at malalaman. Dahil loves, walang sikretong hindi nabubulgar. So I'm gonna talk to that person
But
and
when
talk
you-
about his plans.
But what about when you guys talk to somebody? So, Ate Eileen, ikaw, magsusumbong ka agad.
Magsusumbong talaga
how
siya.
will you make sumbong? Because there's a way to talk to that person. So, Coach V, what's your advice? Ate Eileen, example
Ate
muna.
Eileen.
How would you make sumbong? And then let's see if Coach V was right.
Wait, kailangan niya ng mic. Lapit ako.
Sige.
Go.
Kasi siya
Kausapin
talaga.
muna natin, kukumustahin muna natin yung relationship nilang mag-asawa kung on the rocks or okay, ganun.
Correct. And then, pag sinabing, papalitan ko na siya, anong gagawin mo? Oo, sinabi Oo.
Wait, lapit ulit ako Paulit.
Sinabi niya kasi nag-chicks daw siya kasi papalitan niya na. So,
Huwag
anong
muna
gagawin mo?
palitan agad, usap muna. Usap muna.
Magiging team builder siya.
Therapist, si Ate Eileen.
Mabait. Pero isusumbong ka niya.
Pag-aawayin mo sila.
Pero magsusumbong talaga siya. Yan, tumatalon siya kanya, magsusumbong.
I know, she's so, feel ni Ate Eileen yun.
Hugot! May hugot.
Naranasan na kasi. So, yun po sinabi niya, just in case na hindi nakuha ng mic. But, okay,
Yeah.
some people have experience na nabiktima or...
Yeah. So, ganun kasi sometimes we resonate dun sa meron tayong common ground. So, if you have been a victim before, kung naging victim siya before, kaya siguro siya nagkakaroon ng guilt na isusumbong ko to because I know how it feels to be in that situation. Pero, paano kung ikaw naman yung cheater? Minsan, pipikitan mo na lang kasi alam mong gawain mo din eh.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yun.
I think iba rin when if the one cheating finds out, alam na ng iba. I think iba rin yung reaction niya eventually.
Pero si Mon, interesting kasi sabi niya, depende kung friend ko.
Yeah,
That's
because
true
if it's
though.
my friend,
That's true.
like what
Loyalty
Paolo said,
talaga.
it's who you're closer to. So if my friend is cheating on her spouse, I would not say anything because I'm closer to her than her spouse. But if I see her spouse cheating on her, then of course I'm gonna tell her.
Susumbong mo.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Get Monique as your friend.
Safe ka.
Safe ka forever.
At loyal siya sa'yo. That's it for today, loves. This is Coach V giving you real talk about real love. Got a secret you're too scared to say out loud? Slide into my DMs, Dating Coach V on Instagram. Because here, we don't just spill tea, we serve clarity. Join me again tomorrow and have a beautiful day. Love you.
And once again, that was Coach V with all that advice. Again, if you want Anne or myself to read all of your messages in probably the worst way possible, please do send her a DM.
But if you want me to read it, send it in English. Because if it's Tagalog, I can't. Si Anne and you lang. Wait lang, give me a chance too. I can read.
And that is it for us this Tuesday, April 8. Ako po si Paolo del Rosario. Thank you so much for joining us. Anne will be back tomorrow, hopefully. Get well soon, Anne. Thank you so much once again.
And I'm Monique Tuzon. I hope you all have a great Wednesday ahead. Join us again tomorrow at 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. only here on
It's a Beautiful Day.